Welcome back. The newly formed Disinformation Governance Board was a major topic on Capitol Hill this week, and featuring this exchange between Senator Rand Paul and Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Watch.
What this working group does is precisely what I would think you would want it to do, which is to take a look at the work, the disinformation work that our department has done, and ask the following questions. Do we have policies? Do we have guardrails? Do we have standards?
But here's the problem. We can't even agree. We can't even agree what disinformation is. You can't even agree that it was disinformation, that the Russians fed information to the Steele dossier. If you can't agree to that, how are we ever going to come to an agreement on what is disinformation so you can police it on social media?
There is Senator Rand Paul on that. Joining us to discuss is our panelist for today, Newsmax contributor and ambassador with America First Policy Institute, Tom Borelli, former White House senior advisor and CEO of Conservative Move, Paul Chabot. Also with us, Director of Membership Development for Project 21 Black Leadership Network, Donna Jackson. Good to see everyone here. Thank you so much for coming on. Donna, does Senator Paul have a point there of who decides what's true and what's not? Your thoughts on it?
He's absolutely 100% right. Listen, this board is put together to crush any narrative that goes against what they want out there. I was just notified this morning by one of our members that they were actually pushed out of their firm for being too conservative. What this panel will do is bully corporations. It sends a message that anybody that employs anyone that has a narrative or a belief system that is opposed to this administration will be targeted. And it's already happening because I've been notified this morning.
Yeah, and this is, and I appreciate you sharing that with us as well. I'll show you this too. There are, I believe, 20 Republicans pushing to sue, or rather threatening to sue, against this disinformation board. And we'll show you here, states rather, threatening legal action because they're talking about the timing is suspect, the timing, due to Tesla CEO Elon Musk's recent acquisition of Twitter and his commitment to ensuring free speech and transparency on the platform. You know, this isn't one rogue congressman, Paul Chabot, going after this. You've got 20 states going after this. And you've also heard from across the aisle, maybe their voices aren't as loud, but this information board just simply isn't sitting well with everybody.
No, and I think it's important also to point out to the critical role of Republican attorney generals across this country. They've been challenging the Biden administration, having good successes, our attorney general here in Texas as well. This really is an attack on free speech. It is chilling to think that DHS, that entity at the high level of the federal government, would even suggest such a thing. Number two, let alone have a name associated with it. And the third, to hire somebody with a radical past that has criticized free speech in general. So yes, I think there is a correlation between Elon Musk taking over Twitter and a fear that the Democrats have of losing a major platform, which can now actually be free speech.
Paul brings up who would head up this department, Nina Jankowicz, and her background in questions, once calling the Hunter Biden laptop story a Trump product, called it disinformation. The secretary was asked if he knew about her TikTok videos, which you're seeing now, to which he denied ever knowing. What kind of vetting process is there? And what are the dangers of having someone like Ms. Jankowicz heading up this board, Tom Borelli?
Well, Sean, I think the overall agenda here is for the Democrats to control speech because they know their policies are horrible and harming the American people. They picked Ms. Jankowicz because she is a political operative, if not hack, and she will do everything to advance the Democrat agenda. Democrats can't compete in the battle of ideas. They can't compete with the battle of ideas on Twitter. So now they need a way to try to control information such that they can look good. But the American people are not going to fall for it. Inflation is hammering Americans every day, and it's all Biden's fault. They can have all the disinformation panels they want in the government, but the American people know better.
There's also another one, by the way, completely different topic, but the AG, Merrick Garland, now starting this Office of Environmental Justice. So a whole nother one going after the climate crisis, as it's being dubbed by this White House. Panelists, if you don't mind, stick around. A lot more news to cover.